What's up to my boos, my boo thangs, my friends, my soon-to-be friends, generally the universe. Welcome to episode 1 of the van build series for This Cavu Life. Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's up to my boos, my boo thangs, my friends, my soon-to-be friends, generally the universe. Welcome to episode 1 of the van build series for This Cavu Life. I'm Jack, and here's Peaches. She is a 2018 RAM ProMaster 2500, 136 wheelbase, high roof. I bought her a couple weeks ago with the intention to convert her from a commercial cargo van into a full-time tiny home that I plan on driving around the US and exploring with my little 11-pound miniature pincher mix, Charles. If you want to know why I chose Peaches, this van in particular, or I guess this make and model, over the Ford Transit or the Mercedes Sprinter, head on over to my website, link below, where I walk through the pros and the cons and the non-negotiables around why I chose Peaches. So episode 1, it is the cleaning and the prep work. So if you bought a brand new van off of the production factory floor, this one might not apply to you, but maybe more so for those that bought a used vehicle. I'm going to walk you guys through what I did, the approach that I took. Unfortunately, some of my content was lost through the transfer process, so it may be a little choppy here and there, but I'll walk through the steps around what it took to dismantle some of the original shelving that was there and partition, what products I used to do the deep scrub, how I approached rust, looking for leaks, and then getting it prepped and ready for episode 2 or step 2, which is the installation of sound deadening. The cleaning and the prep work is, while definitely not the most enjoyable, in my opinion, it's the most important. If you don't have a solid foundation that is sealed and protected, you're going to be in for a world of hurt once you start to truly build up the interior of the van and then start installing the cabinetry and the electrical system and all that good stuff. So yeah, so episode 1, clean and prep. I will post more of actual detail around everything that I did on my website, so be sure to check that out. Again, thanks so much for stopping by, thanks for watching, and let's go. So I will be taking out the insulated Duratherm wall liner, that metal partition back there, and then this flooring. This will be step 1. So, looking good. Not too bad. So unfortunately, I cannot open this sliding door right now. If I open the sliding door, it stays unlocked. That is because there's something going on with the sensor plate, and so they need to completely replace the sensor plate. They've got to look for the parts, so that's going to take some time. So right now, door stays closed, which is fine, but it feels good to get at least a majority of the insulation out. This metal partition is probably going to take a trip to a mechanic, maintenance shop tomorrow, because there's just some tools that I don't have. All right, so as you start to dismantle the interior of the van, taking off all of the shelving, whatever maybe potential insulation they had in there, really getting it down to its bare bones. One of the areas that sometimes may be overlooked, but in my mind is probably one of the most critical parts of the inspection outside of maybe the rust, is checking for leaks. If there is any sort of insulation, if there is any sort of padding, even plastic trim, recommend pulling that off if you can, and doing simple water tests. I personally cannot think of anything worse than getting your van insulated, the electrical there, and then finding some sort of a leak, whether it be a small hole or purely just the rubber trim that's around the windows. So one of the things that I recommend doing over all of the entry points along your van, so the doors, the two front doors, the sliding door, your cargo doors, if you have windows already installed, is literally just taking a hose, putting it right over this door or any of the doors, basically duct taping it there, and then turning the water on just a little bit, allowing the water to dribble into the entry points of the van. And then head on in there and look around, poke around, make sure that there aren't any leaks. Sometimes you'll find the easiest fixes to these leaks is just replacing the inner rubber, I guess it's tubing or whatever it's called. That's sometimes the easiest replacement or fix if there is a leak. Other times you actually have holes or rust that's allowing moisture in. So the Ryobi, so you can see this, cordless shop vac. Game changer, just by nature of it being cordless, made it really easy and efficient to just clean up all of the loose debris and trash in and around the interior of the van. Mops. I originally was cleaning on my hands and knees with just heavy-duty cloth. Really inefficient, taking far too long. Went to the dollar store, bought 7 of these, ended up only using about 4 to at least get the initial top surface grime off. So the solution that I used, just simple green all-purpose cleaner, depending on how much grime you have, I would recommend that. Didn't end up using a whole lot of it, but it worked great. So when you get to the rust layer, there are options of either doing it by hand, so depending on the extent of the rust and the space that you're working with, Anvil sells these brushes in packs of three different types of, I guess, thistles. So that was a good option for some of the smaller, harder to reach areas. So I recommend using 18-bolt drill, and then this brush extension. This worked great for a lot of the bigger spaces and some of the deeper rust. Once you get everything clean, rust removed, and you're looking to put down sort of that final primer and paint layer, I used Rust-Oleum 2X. It's a paint and primer 2-in-1. Worked great. I ended up buying 5 cans. 4 cans worked well to divide into 4 different quadrants of the floor, and then the 5th can I used to just do any little touch-ups, some of the sides of the walls as well. So yeah, that quarter of the truck painted, and word of advice, use a respirator mask. Unfortunately, none are available right now, or anywhere to be found, but yeah, use a respirator mask. Cut the trash bags up in to pieces. Did not work well. I actually ended up getting paint on some of the upholstery, not so much the upholstery, but the black plastic upholstery at the part of the bottom under the seats. Get the painter's tarp. You can use it, comes in handy other ways or other times of the build. So yeah, so outside of that, that pretty much covers all of the supplies that I used during the cleanup and prep period. Head on over to my website. I have a blog there where I talk through all of the supplies and the tools that I used, roughly how much it cost me, and then just general time, duration, and expense for this specific portion of the van build. In my eyes, this is probably the most important part of the van build process. While it's not glamorous and it's definitely not fun, I think it's the most important, in that if you don't make sure that you have a solid foundation and you've plugged all of the holes and now I'm going to fill a few cracks that are a result of the fasteners used to hold down the original flooring that came with the cargo van. So there's 2 schools of thought that I've researched and I've heard around whether or not you should fill them or not fill them. The first one being, if you leave a few open areas, it gives an exit for water or moisture should it collect under your subfloor. The second school of thought, which is the one that I'm following, is if there's an opportunity for water or moisture to exit, well, then there's an opportunity for that water or moisture to come in. And I would prefer not to have holes in the floor of my house that allows water to come in under the subfloor that I probably won't find. So I'm going to caulk them. So all you need is an advanced silicone caulk. I'm gonna use that and a caulk gun. Shouldn't take too long. And voila, we're done. All right, that's episode 1, cleanup and prep of the van build series. Really appreciate you guys tuning in, watching Peaches and I on this adventure. If you haven't done so already, click the subscribe button below. There's a little bell somewhere right next to it. Click that as well. That's a notification, so every time we post a new episode on this adventure, you guys will be in the know. If you're on Instagram, feel free to follow This Cavoo Life, handle somewhere down here. Would love to stay in touch. We're really excited to be doing this. Really looking forward to connecting to the community. So yeah, here we go. Keep living your Cavoo life.